credit department. Luther Garrett's office. His was one of the few names she remembered from yesterday. Luther, she had repeated after Gail Freeman. People name their children anything. She had instantly regretted these words to her new boss, whose own feminine name seemed an unfair burden for a black man to carry, but he had acknowledged her remark with a smiling nod. She allowed the door to swing closed and continued down the hallway, high heels sinking soundlessly into thick rust-colored carpeting. Pausing at the next door, which bore the name Fred Grayson on a white-lettered sign hanging from two hooks, she reflected that this was the one corner office she hadn't yet seen. Gail Freeman and Fergus Parker occupied the others, and, of course, Guy Adams, with his spectacular office. She smiled, remembering him. She walked on, past other signs bearing the names Harley Burton and Dwayne Fletcher, and paused before Gretchen Phillips. She had not met these sales managers, and she was curious only about Gretchen Phillips. What had it been like, her ascent to sales manager? More to the point, what kind of woman would work for a man like Fergus Parker? She pushed open the conference room door. An imposing table, heavy, dark, glossy, was surrounded by a dozen armchairs upholstered in rich gold fabric. A painting vaguely suggestive of rolling hills and sunlight took up much of one wall. A locked glass case held an assortment of photographic equipment. She gazed only for a moment, then closed the door softly. She was near Fergus Parker's office, too near. If he by chance were in early. Muzak swelled and waned as she strode along the carpeted hallway under the ceiling speakers, retracing her steps past Fred Grayson's office, past her own and Gail Freeman's offices, and up the hallway to the purely functional areas, supply room, photocopying, the restrooms, the kitchen, and lunchroom. The aroma of coffee reached her as she came to the open doorway of the kitchen. Who else was in early? Fergus Parker or Guy Adams, or both. It had to be. She had seen most of the other offices, and unless someone was working behind a closed door, most likely it was Guy Adams, she decided with a surge of pleasure. Fergus Parker wouldn't know a coffee pot from a gumball machine. She poured coffee into a styrofoam cup, sipped appreciatively. She could at least offer Guy Adams more coffee. She picked up the coffee pot, crossed the hallway to his office. It was empty. Sipping her coffee, she stood in the doorway looking with renewed pleasure at the furnishings in the room. The early American ash desk with green leather inserts, an Elizabethan chair with a back of dark red wood worked into delicately carved scrolls, its seat of multi-hued blue satin. A Louis XVI armchair of ebony with an oval back and silky peach and white upholstery. A sofa with claw-shaped legs, its fabric finely patterned silver gray. A highly polished cherrywood table bearing a Chinese lamp the color of lime jade. A vivid red Persian rug under a coffee table of inlaid veneers. 3 paintings, small oils depicting scenes of the English countryside. Her eyes moved to the windows, to the distant mountains, folds of graying brown. A white mist clung to the ocean. From down the hall came a thudding, a slight rhythmic vibration in the floor. She turned, but the corridor stretched out empty before her. Then a door slammed with an echoing violence so startling that she almost dropped the coffee pot. Automatically, she took a step in the direction of Fergus Parker's office, but halted. Whatever was going on down there was no affair of hers. Then there was a loud and prolonged crashing and smashing of glass. It continued as she hurried along the corridor. She slowed to a walk, glanced into Fergus Parker's office, and stood rooted. And this time she did drop the coffee pot. Fergus Parker's portable bar had fallen over, a mass of